Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Real Madrid Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. Jota, and let's keep talking about Real Madrid and the latest news that we have. Let me start off with Eden Hazard, and why is the reason why I have picked to the Belgium player for starting this longer video. It's pretty much because he will be back tomorrow, and it's gonna be a so exciting day, such an exciting day, because if there is a player who are still waiting for Los Madridistas, that is Eden Hazard. But it's not because we love him. I mean, it's because he has spent the last 2 years in Madrid and he has pretty much nothing. He has given just nothing to Los Madridistas, so we are waiting for him to reverse this situation, and hopefully we can see the best version of the Belgian player this season. So according to the different vacations of the player, Eden Hazard along with Thibaut Courtois will be back tomorrow and will have to show up tomorrow in the training ground of Real Madrid in the practice tomorrow, Thursday, July the 27th, if I'm not wrong. So what I'm expecting from Eden Hazard is pretty much a player who should be already in shape, because according to the information that I have, Antonio Pintus has monitoring his situation even on vacation, and apparently he sent the player a workout plan and a diet plan as well, so he could follow and stick to the plan. So once he gets back to Madrid, he is in the better shape possible and things like that. So I'm not expecting for Eden Hazard to be out of shape or overweight or something like that. But of course, this is going to be a very challenging year for the Belgian player, just because he also has a lot of cutting throat competition. I mean, he has to Rodrigo Goes ahead of him, he has to Vinicius Jr. ahead of him, and of course, if we are able to sign Kylian Mbappe, it's gotta be worse for the Belgian player, because the chances for him to play again or get a spot in the lineup of Real Madrid is gotta be very complicated for the players. So I don't know what is gonna happen, and it really depends what Ancelotti sees in the training ground from Eden Hazard. I mean, if he spot the player and see that he's ready to go, is in a very good shape, the physical condition is perfect, and I mean his abilities and skills or stuff like that are still up and things like that, I would say that he will trust in the Belgium player again. But of course, when you have two players like Rodrigo Goes, super young players, who super talented players, and doing a great job, of course it's gonna be complicated for Carlo Ancelotti to pick among these players, right? So that's why I think that Eden Hazard will have a hard time this third year in Real Madrid, because there are a lot of competition out there, and I don't really know what Ancelotti is thinking right now about Eden Hazard and his role in Real Madrid and things like that. But what is pretty sure is that he will have to get back tomorrow to the practice, to the training ground. So tomorrow we will see again back to Eden Hazard in Madrid. So now let's move on and let's keep talking about more stuff, more news, and of course I'm going to address now the information that came out this morning from Italy, which claims that Ancelotti is still insisting in signing Richarlison from Everton. But the funny thing here is to hear how Everton is allegedly asking a crazy, insane price for the player. About 90 millions would be asking Everton for selling the player to Real Madrid, which is, of course, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not true and it's just fake, but let me tell you that it's almost impossible to me that this deal is real. I mean, I don't think at all, number one, Real Madrid or even Ancelotti, with all the things surrounding Real Madrid and going on in Real Madrid from a financial standpoint, I don't really believe that Carlo Ancelotti is not aware of the situation and he dares to ask to Real Madrid to sign a player like Richarlison. That is number one. And number two, if he is really insisting in signing Richarlison, I don't think at all that 90 million euros is a price market that it is really worth it for a player like Richarlison. I mean, you have to keep in mind, this player, although is a very good player and he did a great job in Everton last year, he only scored though about 13 goals in the whole season. I mean, he's a player who, although is a forward, he plays way better when he plays along with another forward. I mean, it is the kind of play, he's the kind of player who is not ready to play alone and to become the most important scorer or try to score the most goals or things like that. No, it's a forward who normally assists better to another forward. I mean, it's more kind of associative player, and he plays much better for different players than for himself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think, and I don't really know what is going on right here, but this smells really bad, and I don't want to believe actually that Ancelotti is insisting in signing Richarlison, because the information, honestly, I don't think that is very true, and it's not legit enough, and it's not the best source that the information can come from, right? So, I mean, it is coming from Italy, but we don't really know where is this information coming from. So don't believe it, don't be fooled by this kind of information, because if there is a single forward really important for Real Madrid this season, it is just Kylian Mbappe, and it's not Richarlison or any other player in the world. So that's it. Now let's keep going, let's keep moving through and talking about, in this case, Jules Kounde. And why am I talking about Jules Kounde in the third place? Well, according to some reports coming from England, Jules Kounde is a player who is willing to wait for Real Madrid the next season. I mean, as you know, Jules Kounde has been sounding for Real Madrid over the last weeks, when Rafa Varane considering that Rafa Varane has been very attached to Manchester United, and now his signing for the Red Devils are very close to happen. So Jules Kounde has been surrounding Real Madrid as the fourth center back that Ancelotti insists in having the next year. Okay, let me tell you what. Jules Kounde is so determined to play in Real Madrid, so he would be willing to wait for the next year, 2022, to play in Real Madrid, which is very good news. Because if you think about it, we still have a bunch of players out there waiting for Real Madrid for the next season, to play in Real Madrid the next season, that would arrive for free, which is good. So if Jules Kounde wants to wait for Real Madrid, that would be great, because that way we don't have to pay about 80 million euros Sevilla is asking for the player right now. Because in my opinion, this price is just nuts. I mean, nobody will pay for it. 80 million euros is completely insane. I mean, actually, apparently Manchester United is also interested in signing Jules Kounde, but not for such an amount of money. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's just crazy, man. So I don't think that there's any other team in the world where Jules Kounde is really interested more to play in aside of Real Madrid. For the player, Real Madrid is the top priority, and what we could see is another David Alaba case with Jules Kounde, because apparently the guy is 100% straight up and convinced to play in Real Madrid the next season, which I celebrated, because I think he's a very good player, one of the most promising center backs in the world. Of course, he was called by the national team of France to play in the European Championship. He didn't have so many chances though to play, but is still a very good player. We saw some of the performances of the player the last year in the European League in Sevilla, and this guy is just nuts. I mean, I have nothing to say about the player, nothing else that you don't know already yet. So this guy is just crazy, and hopefully is a crazy player, and of course I'm hopefully that he ends playing for Real Madrid. So now let's move on and let's talk about the last news that we have. It is about the signing of Rafa Varane. It is just an update, because Jose Felix Diaz, 42 minutes ago, he tweeted something really intriguing, because he said that Real Madrid is not willing to give away to Rafa Varane. I mean, it's not willing to sell Rafa Varane for pennies, which means, from my understanding, what he's trying to say is that Real Madrid is not willing to sell or lowering a little bit more the price of Rafa Varane. So in my opinion, the only obstacle in the deal for Rafa Varane between Real Madrid and Manchester United is pretty much the price, that Manchester United is trying to lower a little bit more the price, while Real Madrid is trying to keep the same price, around the 50 to 55 millions or something like that, because lower than that, I mean less than that, that'd be nuts, man. It is impossible for Manchester United to sign a player who is one of the best center backs in the world for less than 50 million euros. I mean, it's still a good deal. So I don't know what are these guys asking for. It's just nuts, man. I mean, if you are able to sign a player like Rafa Varane for just as little as 50 million euros, it's a very good deal, man. I don't know what these guys asking for, but it's just nuts. So I don't know what is gonna happen. According to Fabrizio Romano, it's pretty much done, pretty much over, but we will have to wait a little bit more, maybe about 24 hours or something like that, for us to know what is going to happen at the end with Rafa Varane. So now let me know your thoughts about that. Just comment in the section below, and of course subscribe my channel, Real Madrid Hub.